So I've been a bit lazy with Platinum games. I've started a load of games and just nothing stuck until I come across Mad Max. Before I even begin though, let's just make this quite clear. If you're going to try and Platinum this game, it can be very glitchy, but I never really had anything that broke trophies. But this game has a stupid amount of collectibles, so unless you're willing to grind for collectibles, avoid it because you will go nuts otherwise, unless you can tolerate that kind of thing. If you're still interested in the game after that, Platinum Hunters will find that as a solid, if rough around the edges game that has basically anything that's come from the Batman Arkham games mixed with maybe a bit of the Mordor games, as it is a Warner Bros. Studios, so you'll kind of be at home with the kind of combat and the feel of what the game does. The game isn't that difficult, to be honest, and the Platinum is pretty straightforward. It's just a lot of grinding. You could have took about a quarter of the map away and quarter of the game and you would have had probably a better product, but it is what it is. But the trophies will force you to pretty much do everything, and the only real kind of thing to pay attention to is you have in-game kind of missions to do, or challenges, and they're the ones that will probably be the only thing that kind of gets you stuck. So you need to kind of do them as you're playing and not leave as many to the end, otherwise it becomes a bit more tricky, but not impossible. You can do everything by the end. So I said it was like the Batman games, and that is the combat, but it's really watered down. So you can reverse with triangle, you punch with square, and as you see in the video, you then upgrade Mad Max and you can then start doing X kind of takedowns with shivs. It's kind of okay, it's a bit flowing, but by the end of the game it does get a bit repetitive and a bit samey, which is a bit annoying, because they had something quite good here. Also, whilst you have that kind of combat, the other part of the game is driving, and I found that I took an incredible long time to get used to it, as it didn't feel as responsive and it did feel really clunky. And that is probably a best way of describing the game, that it just feels clunky and rough around the edges, where they could have done so much and either they got short of time, or they just had too much to try and fit in this game, or they just had too little and they stretched it ridiculously too far. Either way, it's a gem in the rough, but it kind of let itself down. So if you persevere, like I did, it took me a long time to get into this game. The story is a standard affair. You're beaten to near death and your trusty new dog friend and a deformed hunchback named Chum rescue you, setting in motion your revenge. The story was fairly unremarkable though, and often got lost amongst the sheer volume of places to go seek out and uncover, which is a shame, especially when these places are all the same in principle. The only difference you notice is some of the enemies are kind of different, but that's only cosmetic. They all kind of end up fighting the same. There is positives in this game, I'm not all doom and gloom about it. The sound and the action is on point when the game gets going. Tires can be shot off, rockets can be launched off and give you satisfying explosions, and the finishers give you those nice like killer blows that you are dangerous even if a bit vulnerable, and it adds weight to the game in a lot of ways. And when the car combat does start to click with you, it can get good in some of the missions. The problem is, it's only far and few between the missions that it can get going. Meanwhile, they have a lot of nice little touches, and do make out or keep an eye out for the storms. They are a really graphical, nice touch to the game, and do kind of make things complex for a brief time. But again, they have some annoying touches where the dog only comes into play if you get the Chum buggy, and it has nothing to use in protection, so no sniping, no rocket launchers or anything like that, so you are very vulnerable just looking for minefields, and it seems a bit of a pointless gameplay mechanic. Add the bosses. Once you've played one, you know how to beat them all. There is no variation, and that is a big disappointment. During the game you earn scrap, and that's in-game currency, and that helps you upgrade Mad Max or his cars. And it's alright, it's a solid thing without being unremarkable. You also come across new friends, and they have bases that you can do little missions and find stuff and to upgrade their bases. And that's as much as you get involved in this game world. So everything taken into account, it's a 3 out of 5, and that feels fair for a game that has great and terrible qualities alike. That stops this being a proper classic. I really wanted to like this more, and it's a real shame. Hope you like this video. If you need any advice, give us a like, subscribe, or leave a comment, and I'll get back to you.